Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, a Pittsburgh Steelers podcast made by fans like you, for fans like you. Now, here's your host.
Hey, Steel City Underground followers. My name is Brian Roach. I'm on here to give you a little detail on the contest that we're running on Steel City Underground. The contest essentially is for the March of Dimes, right? We have a couple posts up. One describes the details of the contest. The other one tells a little bit of the story of my daughter, Emily, which is kind of the inspiration for doing this contest. And the idea here is that we would like you, the people who are following Steel City Underground, who are fans of the Steelers, who are just awesome freaking people, to help us help babies. And you do that by donating to the March of Dimes. This is something that the March of Dimes, of course, does every year. I've been doing it for 16 years, and we would like to invite you to be a part of that. And if you give $1, you get entered into a drawing. If you give $10, you get 10 entries into a drawing. And that drawing is for this. This is a full-sized replica helmet autographed by Rocky Bleier. It's inscribed Super Bowl 9, 10, 13, 15, 14, and his number. The helmet is JSA authenticated. I was there when he signed it. I know it's real. I know also that the JSA authentication is real. So it comes with a real certification. It is big. Look, it's as big as my head, and I have a giant head. And that's what we're giving away. So if you win, you get that prize. And all you need to do to enter into the contest is make a donation. You can donate $1. You can, as I've been saying now to friends of mine, just give a buck. Give a buck. Give a buck about babies, okay? And if you give a buck about babies, you got a chance to win this helmet. We may have some other prizes that we throw in as well. There could be some shirts and some other things, depending on what kind of response we get, because we would like everybody to have a chance to win something. And while, if we get 5,000 entries, we're not going to have 5,000 prizes. At least, you know that you have a better than one-on-one chance of winning. I can tell you that right now, the contest ends April 30th. And April 30th, what will happen is I will go do my 5-mile walk for the March of Dimes. At the end of that walk, sometime during the day, we will do a video like this where we will draw winners. And the winner who we pick first gets the helmet. The winner who we pick second maybe gets a shirt, maybe something else. We'll see. It's really not about the prizes. It's about the March of Dimes. And let me tell you a little bit about why this matters, especially to me. My daughter, Emily, was a premature kid. She came into the world at 25 weeks, which is about 15 weeks early. She weighed 14.7 ounces, and this was in the year 2000, so about 16 years ago. So when she was born, she was basically smaller than a beer can, weighed less than a pound. And for the week up to the point when she was born, the doctors continued to tell us, don't hope, don't wish, don't dream. She will not make it. So, just imagine if you are a parent, if you are a child, if you have nephews, nieces, grandchildren, somebody telling you during the process of their birth, it ain't happening, they're not going to make it, how that would feel. Well, we heard that for a long time. We certainly heard it almost every day for a week. On Thanksgiving Day of 2000, my daughter was born. Now, my wife spent a week in the hospital, and during that week in the hospital, they gave her steroid injections to help Emily grow, to kind of spark her growth because she was so small even then. And the doctors who developed that therapy were funded by the March of Dimes. So Emily comes into the world, and the doctors tell us she won't breathe. She's probably going to be blue. There's a very good chance she dies during the birth. Even though we're doing a C-section, so it's less traumatic, she may not survive the birth. We're in the operating room. I'm peeking over the curtain trying to see the inside of my wife's belly because I'm just weird like that. And I'm looking at all these layers of stuff, and she's telling me, stop looking because I don't want you to see that. And so I sit back down, and the doctors finally get Emily out, and all we hear is this little And the nurse starts to freak out, and she's like, Emily, she's trying to cry. She's trying to cry. And so I jump up out of my seat and I run over and I say, is that Emily? And they go, yeah. And she's calculating something, and it's called an APGAR score. And an APGAR score is a measure that the doctors use to see how well a baby is doing when it's born. Guess what? APGAR scores were developed through research funded by the March of Dimes. Prior to all of this happening, my wife was taking neonatal vitamins. Guess what? Neonatal vitamins funded through research provided by the March of Dimes. You kind of get my point where I'm going with this, I think. So Emily's born. She's this little thing covered with these orange hairs called Longo or something like that. And again, they tell us she's not going to survive. Well, you know what? 6 months later, she did. She came home, and she had broken arms, broken legs. She had heart surgery. She had eye surgery. She had bowel surgery. She had hernia surgeries. She had infections. We had a meeting where they said, give up. It's time to stop. Let her go. We said, no. Thank you very much for your kind offer, but we'll pass. And 16 years later, she's upstairs. She is a high school honor student, and she's doing great. When she was first born, she had to be on a respirator. They gave her something called surfactant. Surfactant is something to help little baby's lungs handle, what am I calling it? Replicator? That's Star Trek. That's not right. The respirator. Thank you very much. Handle the respirator, and because the respirator essentially rips their lungs apart. The respirator is something they need to stay alive, but it can also kill them. Surfactant developed by a doctor who was funded by, say it all with me, come on, March of Dimes. That's right. So you can understand why this cause is important to me. And I'm here to tell you it should be important to you too. March of Dimes was originally created by FDR to battle polio. If anybody listening doesn't have polio, you were impacted by research funded by the March of Dimes, because their goal was to eradicate polio. And they did it. How many charities actually have a goal that they succeed at? They did it. They eradicated polio. Since then, they have turned their attention to babies. Their goal now is to eliminate premature birth and to make sure all babies are born healthy. I'm going to tell you another little story about Emily in the hospital. And that story is essentially, as I said, she got an infection. It was a very bad infection. And it was, if something was going to kill her, it was this infection. The doctors said, we have one thing we can do. If it doesn't work, we don't have anything else we can do. And the infection caused all kinds of problems. And one of those problems was that her blood pressure really started to get bad, very fluctuating. And so my wife and I are in the hospital, and we're watching this heart monitor, and we're watching it go up and down, and it's just steadily dropping. And we're sitting there and we're watching the numbers, and the nurses tell you never to watch the numbers. But you know what? When you're watching your child's blood pressure drop from 25 over something to 30 over to 20 over something to 19 to 18 to something all the way down to about 8 over 9, you can't stop watching, because you are effectively watching your child die. Well, it got down into those single-digit numbers, and they gave her a transfusion of blood. Guess what the program was that sponsored that research, that developed that therapy? I'm not going to tell you. You should have figured it out by now. Anyway, and her numbers came back up. My personal hope is that no family ever has to sit there simply because their daughter came or their son came or their child came too early, sit there and watch their child die. That's what the March of Dimes goal is as well. Prevent that, prevent birth defects, prevent prematurity whenever possible. And that's what this money that we're trying to gain goes for. So if you go to, and I'm sure we'll put links in the comments under this video, if you go to our contest pages, all you essentially have to do is hit the link that goes to the March of Dimes. In the comments, make a comment, Steel City Underground. Right now, after a month essentially of this contest running, we have 3 entries. Three. Steelers Nation is billions of people strong. We have 3. So I would like to see that get up a little bit. For the 3 of you who have entered, I love you. Thank you very much. You're wonderful. For those of you who haven't, I love you guys too. But, do me a favor. Give a buck. Give a buck. $1 gets you in. And it's something you can feel good about. The March of Dimes is a charity where 87 cents out of every dollar goes to research. 87 cents. That means they only keep 13% of the entire dollar for stuff like administration and self-promotion and other things. So even though they get a lot of stuff through donations for marketing and things, those are the donation of goods, not money. Every single dollar, only 13 cents out of that dollar goes to internal stuff. 87 cents goes to research. So it's a worthwhile charity. I would love it if we could go to the march, and I usually end up giving a speech in front of the marches to tell Emily's story because it's a success story. And it would be amazing if I could stand up and say, we did so much better this year because of Steelers Nation, because of the people who follow and support Steel City Underground. So I'm asking you one more time, give a buck. Just give a buck about the kids. Give a buck about babies. And maybe you'll win this. And no, you will not win my autographed Dan Rooney jersey. No, you won't. But you could win the Rocky Blyer helmet. So, that's something. And if you haven't, take a look at the articles on Steel City Underground. Listen to our podcast. This is exactly where I'm sitting when I'm talking to Joe on those podcasts. It's, if you like the Steelers, it's a place for you. So give it a listen. Think about giving a buck. Think about giving $5, $10. If you're really, really rich, if Dan Rooney's watching this, probably not. If Art Rooney II is watching this, if any member of the Steelers is watching this, give $100. You guys got money. Do it. Give it to the March of Dimes. I don't want anything from me. If there's a reason that you feel like I don't want to do it, I don't want to put my credit card number out there, I don't want to do something, contact one of us at Steel City Underground. We will find a way for you to get into the contest. You can send a check-in that's made out to the March of Dimes, so it's not going to go to, that weird guy in this video, namely me. It's going to go to the March of Dimes. It'll get you into the contest. We will help you help babies if you help us help babies. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.